a service of CNC Worldwide.
CNC podcasts are a service of CNC News. After negotiating all weekend, New York's three men in the room came to a state budget agreement Sunday night. Governor Andrew Cuomo, Senate Majority Leader Dean Skelos, and Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie shook hands on a $94.25 billion budget. Add to that $23.5 billion for school aid and $17.7 billion for Medicaid, but nobody has released the actual bottom line yet. The details are coming sometime on Monday. This does include the governor's $1.5 billion economic development competition that pits upstate New York cities against each other, and $500 million for a statewide broadband internet service. There's also a version of Governor Cuomo's ethics reform plan. Lawmakers who are lawyers have to disclose their client lists if they have privacy concerns. The compromise is that the state's Office of Court Administration will rule on the issue. The governor had to give up trying to force through a plan to change the teacher tenure law and make teacher reviews dependent on how well students perform on standard tests. That will now be up to the state education department. A sudden explosion and fire destroyed a commercial and apartment building in East Rochester a couple of hours before dawn Sunday. It left a woman in critical condition at Strong Memorial Hospital and destroyed a pizza shop that had been in business for more than 30 years. Investigators are looking into the cause of the 5:30 a.m. blast that blew out the back of the building. It's a total loss and will have to be demolished. As you can see, when fire crews arrived, flames were pouring out of the upper floors, seen in this video courtesy of Monroe County Firewire. 2 women were burned. 1 is still in critical condition at the Strong Burn Unit. 4 area fire companies were needed to deal with the situation. Well, they went from the summit to the cellar in just over 24 hours. The Rochester Institute of Technology's men's hockey team started their weekend by knocking off number 1 seed Minnesota State, putting themselves into the NCAA Midwest Regional Finals. Then they ended Sunday night losing to the University of Nebraska-Omaha 4-zip. The Tigers held Omaha to a scoreless tie into the third period. Then Mavericks winger Jake Randolph broke through. The Tigers just couldn't find the code to crack Mavericks goalie Ryan Massa. Although they outshot Omaha, they ended up short of a trip to the Frozen Four. A Hilton man was charged over the weekend with driving while intoxicated and a number of other traffic offenses after his car smashed into a pole on Manitou Road and caused a blackout for much of western Monroe County. Greece police charged 24-year-old Joshua Van Wookhuis after he hit the pole near 990 Manitou Road. He wasn't hurt, but the crash took out a 115,000-volt power line that fed 5 Rochester gas and electric substations. It plunged Greece Gates, Ogden, Parma, Hamlin, and the villages of Hilton and Spencerport into darkness. More than 31,000 people lost electricity. It also gives you some idea of the vulnerability of the electric grid. By the way, RG&E crews were able to switch to additional sources on the grid and get all of the outages back on within 2.5 hours. Your next CNC podcast is whenever you click on one of these pages and catch one. We post updates as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.